Not because of me, of course, but because of him, right?
Of course, it's never us.
It's not me. He's getting in my way. Hi, this is Andrea Schulman again, and welcome to today's video, which is all about 5 things that wildly successful manifestors don't do. And today, I've got a super special guest. She is one of my favorite law of attraction YouTubers, one of my favorites since before I became a law of attraction YouTuber, and her name is Amy Westmoreland. Now, if you're not already following Amy over at Illuminating Joy, make sure to do so. And if you are excited to watch today's video, please give it a thumbs up right now. And let's go ahead and jump into this discussion of 5 things wildly successful manifestors don't do. All right, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today on my channel.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so today we are going to talk about 5 things that wildly successful manifestors don't do. We've got 5 more on Amy's channel too, so make sure that after you watch this video, you go check out that one too. But we're going to go ahead and jump on in with the first one. So the first one that we've got on our list here is number 1. Stop comparing your manifestations to other people's manifestations. Amy, what do you think about this one? And do you have any stories to share on this one?
This was a big one for me personally, and I have a great story. Years and years ago, like over 15 years ago, one of my best friends and I, she's still one of my best friends, we leveled up our manifesting together. And we would talk on the phone like every single day about things we were manifesting. And she seemed to manifest a lot faster than I did. And she would be like, oh, I really want this. And like a few weeks later it would happen. No, I really want this. And a few weeks later it would happen. And these were substantial manifestations.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it was like crickets chirping in my world.
That's the worst.
It's the worst. It's the worst. And I would kind of like vent and complain to her, like, what do you think I'm doing wrong? She's like, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think we're different. And she came up with this really funny analogy where she's like, I'm like a lamp. I just like shine my energy out and I don't care what comes back. You're like a laser beam and you want what you want. And because I'm way more specific than she is. And sure enough, she was right. I started to get my manifestations coming in, and it's like hers would roll in slowly, like a nice tide coming in. Mine was like a tidal wave whenever it came in. It was like some massive avalanche of manifestations. And I started to realize we just had different patterns of how things manifested for us. Yeah. And I trusted that that's my pattern. Like mine kind of holds back until it's ready to give me like a bunch of stuff, whereas hers was like grazing and giving hers along the way. So that's how I really learned to stop comparing my manifesting to other people, because we're different.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any kind of skill. So like there can be really great singers who sing using a different technique or a different kind of style, or they have their own way of doing it, their own signature. And so that's such a great point, that the way your friends are manifesting may not be your style. It's your job to kind of find your personal signature or style. Yeah. So the second one we have here, you want to read it for us? What's the second one that we've got here today, Amy?
Stop concerning yourself with circumstances. They just don't matter, and they are irrelevant.
Yeah. And so many people are talking about, oh, I can't manifest it. I can't manifest this because da 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 da. It's so true. So I've got a personal story for this one that actually happened yesterday. And so I was like, let me try and think of something that's like really, really recent. So our refrigerator broke, and it's one that we bought like just a few years ago. And we went to go look and we realized that the refrigerator was out of warranty. So the circumstance was, well, you're going to have to pay a few $1,000s to get a new refrigerator, or you're going to pay at least a few $100 to get it fixed. Those were the circumstances. Okay. But circumstances don't matter. Like Amy and I have figured out. So when you kind of put your intention out with that, I just like, you know what, it's going to work itself out. However it needs to work itself out. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep on moving. And sure enough, when the repair guy came yesterday, he goes and looks at it and he goes, oh yeah, this is a known issue with this refrigerator and it's 100% covered. So these are the kind of things that can happen, that circumstances literally don't matter. And wildly successful manifestors understand that just because the circumstances say this is what it is, that doesn't really mean anything, does it?
It really doesn't. And it does take some experience to get that knowledge and to trust it more. But yeah, it's one of those things where, we can just dismiss the circumstances a whole lot easier and be like, I'm just going to focus on what I want.
Right. It's that dismissive attitude, like, okay, well, next, and you just kind of move on, and then it syncs up and lines up just perfect. So that's a really great one. So for the next one that we have here, right, on 5 things wildly successful manifestors don't do, is try to hurry the process. So what do you think about this one, Amy?
I have another personal story. I was very impatient back in the day as well, when my friend was manifesting left and right and I was not seeing signs. I was very impatient. However, this is years later. I was already a very good manifester. And it was when I first started trying to manifest rainbows deliberately. I had my first time. I have a whole video about it, but this was the first time I was trying. And I was going to Hawaii and I thought, there's rainbows all over Hawaii. It's going to be easy. So I had my camera ready every time I walked out the door of the hotel, and it rains like every afternoon there. And I would, look at the sky everywhere I went, and there were no rainbows. So I'm trying harder and harder to manifest because I'm only there for like 5 days. So I'm like, there's got to be a rainbow in Hawaii. And I'm going to get a beautiful picture of it. I'm going to post it on my Instagram. And it's going to be amazing.
This is high stakes stuff, guys.
Yeah. This is how we get good. We practice with these things. So I was a little overconfident as well. But long story short, no rainbow. And I kept trying to hurry it. Like I wanted it the first day, the second day, the third day. I am walking through the airport, going to my flight, and the Honolulu airport has an open air terminal at some points. And as I'm walking, I'm like, there's no rainbows. I didn't see a single rainbow in Hawaii while I was here. And I look over and there it is right over the tail of one of the airplanes parked at the gate. And it was literally like the last hour I was there. Yeah. So it was almost like, stop trying to hurry the process. Like I got you. It probably would happen faster if I hadn't struggled so much with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the minute you said, okay, I guess this isn't happening. And you said, that's when it's going to show up. It's so true that hurrying gets so much in the way. Trying to make it happen just makes it take its time. Absolutely.
It's like a paradox. It sort of slows it down, in my opinion.
Absolutely, it does. It absolutely does. Quick interruption. If you are enjoying today's video, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put out law of attraction inspired videos like this one every single week, and I'd really love it if you came along for the ride. What's our next one here? Our next one here on our list.
Oh, this is a good one. Wildly successful manifestors stop blaming other people and their circumstances.
It's probably was my hardest one, and one that sometimes I still do. I understand it now. But yeah, so like for me personally, I can get in my head sometimes that somebody else is doing this to me. Somebody else is getting in my way. Somebody else is preventing me from having what it is that I want. And there's actually somebody that I know who shall remain nameless. Okay. But he's been a very good teacher for me on this one the last couple of years, because I have kind of this social network, this group of friends. I want everything to go well. I want everyone to get along. And in my mind, this person was getting in the way. You know, he had the bad attitude, or he had the XYZ, and as a result, whenever I was around this person, I was getting stressed out. Everybody else in the group was getting stressed out. And I wasn't able to really manifest the cohesive social unit that I really wanted. Not because of me, of course, but because of him, right?
Of course, it's never us.
It's not me. He's getting in my way. And then fortunately, I had kind of this come to Jesus, we could say, kind of moment where I realized, okay, that's right. Wildly successful manifestors don't do this. Mm-hmm. And put it back on myself and said, this isn't really about him. It's about you. Okay. He can't get in your way. He's not the one messing things up.
cut him some slack. And from that moment forward, it was the craziest thing that now I get along with him really well. It doesn't bother me anymore. I don't really see any of that negativity at all. It's really, really crazy. It's amazing how the second you stop blaming someone or a circumstance or whatever the case may be, it stops being an issue in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's taking a little bit of a responsibility for your focus and your point of view. And sometimes personally, it takes me a minute to get there. Like I am not quick at it sometimes, but it's something to keep aspiring to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's kind of normal that, as we ascend and change our frequencies, we're always landing in new places with new things we want to change. And it's easy for us to start seeing the limitations in that environment. And so this is one, I feel like every time you kind of level up, for me at least, there's this tendency to blame a little bit why I can't level up to the next level.
Yeah, no, same thing. Every time you level up, it's like you sort of go through some of the same lessons all over again, just at a higher perspective.
Right, exactly. It's like those layers of an onion.
I mean, I've been here before.
When am I going to learn this?
That happens to me too.
All right, so we have one last thing for our list here for this channel. And what it is that wildly successful manifestors do not complain. What do you think about this one, Amy?
Ooh, this was a big one for me as well. So I'm still working on this one. I still complain sometimes. I try to catch myself as often as possible, or I accept that I'm doing it. It's to sort of release resistance that way. So I have more of a motto than a story, because my stories around this, myself and clients included, are kind of more negative, where here's the motto. The motto is complain and remain. So you remain where you complain. So when, some of my clients would complain about their situation, their job, their relationship, it doesn't really move. It doesn't budge. And as soon as they would stop complaining, things would start moving with either a job promotion or a relationship. Same thing with me personally. If I find myself venting or complaining out loud to my friends about the same subject over and over, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm going to remain here in this, environment that I've already created until I stop complaining. Yeah. Easier said than done. Sometimes we feel justified in complaining, but I use that motto, complain and remain, which I think is biblical, so that I can catch myself and switch it out with gratitude, or just, accepting the situation as it is.
Yeah, I love that motto. That's a good one. And it's so true.
Yeah.
It's exactly true, because what you're doing when you're complaining in the moment is you're just validating your limitations. This is why I think it's not going to work. And I believe it so much. I'm going to tell everybody about it. And I'm going to write about it on social media.
I will say I've gotten to where I don't complain on social media, but sometimes it still comes out of my mouth to my friends.
Oh my goodness. You're on Facebook and you ever get those reminders about what you said 10 years ago? I had one that popped up from like 2008 the other day. I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Just going off like a crazy person. So yes, that's a really good one. Wildly successful manifestors do not complain. We do have a bonus strategy to help you stop doing these things. And Amy's got it for us today. So she's going to share with us this strategy. What strategy do you have for us today?
So I call it red list, green list, and I did not come up with it. I cannot remember who did. I'm so sorry. It was some video I watched like 4 years ago of someone who does like time management, productivity things, and I adapted it for manifesting. So whoever you are, thank you so much for the idea. So you make a manifesting to-do list, and you write all the things you're going to do in green. So that would be, I'm going to visualize today. I'm going to do my affirmations, things like that. And all the things you're going to stop or reduce doing, because sometimes you can't stop right away. So you can start by reducing, like you could reduce how much you complain. You put in red. So I'm going to stop worrying what Bob thinks of my manifesting. Bob is my giant plant that's really finicky and does not like water. He doesn't like sunlight. But he's supposed to live in the desert. So I use Bob as my rep. So I'm going to stop worrying what Bob thinks about my manifesting. And then the goal is at the end of the day, so this would be like a weekly or a daily list. You just try to cross off as many things as possible. So at the end of the day, you could be like, I stopped trying to convince my friend that manifesting works if you're calling them every day and doing that. And you'd be like, well, I didn't do that today. So you cross it off just like a to-do list.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you cross out the part that, well, I didn't do that today. Like you did it, but you didn't do it, as a way to kind of positively reinforce that, hey, we're letting this thing go. That's really awesome. Thank you so much for coming over to my channel today, Amy. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we do have 5 more things to add to this list over on Amy's channel. So make sure to go ahead and check that video out next.
Hey, if you've been enjoying today's video, I do have 2 quick things for you. The first thing is, if you haven't yet taken my Law of Attraction test, and you would like to see the magic of the Law of Attraction, put something out there, see it come back, make sure to go ahead and take my test. I will be putting a link below in the description. And also today, my 40% off sale is closing for all of my manifesting courses and downloads. If you would like to check out my downloads and courses and see if there's any resources that you would like to get for 40% off, again, go ahead and look below in the description because I will put another link there. And again, this sale is closing today. Oh, and also, please do remember that we have another video that Amy and I made on this topic of 5 things wildly successful manifestors don't do. And of course, I'll link that one up too. Thanks so much for watching today's video with my guest, Amy Westmoreland. And of course, I look forward to bringing you another Law of Attraction video soon. Bye-bye.